Hi, my name is Frank Tripodi, guest artist for Goldwell, Canada, and this is my model saw. And today what we're going to be doing is a progression from our last collection, where we're going to be taking some of the length off, trying to keep this a little bit heavier, still softer, but with a stronger weight line. I don't want it to be too flimsy through the ends. So we'll be starting through the back area, taking a center section right through the back from the top of the head down right into the hairline. What we're going to do is just section this off, and then we're going to apply a little bit of our mousse from our trend line, enabling us to work a lot cleaner, tighter. It also gives you a nicer surface to work on. We feel here as a team, when you're using products within your haircut, it gives you a better visual of how the haircut will look when you're done. So it's nice to apply a bit, especially when you're working from wet to dry. It definitely complements your look as you're creating it. So just apply this throughout. Working it from roots right through to the ends. Combing all the hair very neatly, very nicely. Working the grains of the hair evenly through. We're going to go in with the points of our scissors, catch, and slide right through. Using this technique enables you to create a very long form of layering through the hair and still maintain maximum length. Just going through, catching, visualizing your line, and sliding through. Now just combing this all straight down. Normally we would proceed and follow through with the rest of the interior, but the idea, like I said, is I'd like to get my vertical sections cut vertically and then horizontally in one shot, creating our weight line, creating a bit more of a separation through the bottom. Pushing this out of the way. Straight down, 0 degrees, very, very little tension. And just cutting your weight line across. Going into it, point cutting it. At this point you can use whatever you like. You can use a razor for it. You can use deeper incisions of your scissors. Whatever you prefer. So again, what I've done here is I'm taking my section from the previous one, combing it to the section that I'm cutting on, going through, looking for my guide, catching, and sliding through. And you can see, putting in the mousse into the hair, it really keeps the hair together and nice for you to work with. You'll find if you don't add a styling aid to your haircut, you'll find that your ends sometimes will bend or warp or not work in the right direction. So it's very nice to apply a styling aid to your haircut before starting. So I'm just following through. Now I want to connect, again, the bottom of my vertical section, connecting it into my horizontal line, just working through the points of my scissors, creating an imaginary blunt line, but at the same time just shattered slightly, creating an essence of softness. With these new techniques and products that we're using today, they're working great with, the way people are wearing their hair. Versatility, we find, is very, very important. So to be able to wear your hair forward in the morning, then progressing it back in the afternoon, maybe swinging it up later on in the evening, it's all about the products that you're using. They should enable you to create that versatility within the one shape and the one haircut. So just following through. At this point, if you noticed, I'm dragging it slightly further back. Take into consideration the change of the hairline. The closer you work to the higher point of the hairline, the further back you should draw it to make sure that you're going to maintain maximum length through your shape. At this point, doing that vertically, combing it down, 0 degrees, and just connecting it through to my previous section. when you're connecting this, it's all visual. If you have to use your comb to bring it down to draw your line, or your fingers, or you want to put a marker on your cape, by all means, whatever you feel more comfortable with. So at this point, dragging this back, taking a clean subsection behind, dragging it back to that section, picking it all up, now dragging that right back. Now at this point you can see that the layering that we've left in the front area won't really be touched too much. You can see my length to the bottom of my shape, and as I'm holding it up and out, back, you can see that my length really is not going to be touched. Just following through, catching, sliding. Now we're in an industry that makes people feel good, feel sexy. So use all your ammunition as a hairdresser to create those looks and make people feel good. So you can see as I cut it, I'm just dropping it, releasing it, making sure that what I visualized before cutting it is being materialized. So again, coming down, at this point, like I had mentioned, there is no more hair for the length, so we're just connecting those few pieces at the side through the back. Now what we'll do is proceed to the other side. So at this point, taking a subsection from my very first section, using it as a guide for the other side. Let's get that very clean, working right into the hairline. Pushing everything away. You can see exactly what you're working on. Bringing it all up and out. Now just remember what you did to the other side. It's all about balance. And that's why I find working from the center to either side enables you to create a nicer form of balance within your haircut. Just holding it straight out, 90 degrees, catching and slicing through. And just point cutting it through the ends, connecting it to our previous section. Just dropping it, moving it around. See how that's working for you. Following through. We'll be doing some texturizing to this haircut, but for this particular haircut, we'll be doing it on dry hair. The difference between texturizing hair, wet and dry, is basically the amount of hair that will be eliminated. I really don't want to eliminate too much hair, so that is the reason why I will be doing it on dry, eliminating minimal, but yet creating a nice form of softness within my shape. Again, like I mentioned before, you can see at this point that the hairline is starting to move upward, and as the hairline moves upward, you move backward. Just dropping that, checking out my feel that's working for me. Now following through with that vertical section and cutting it horizontally. Tips of the scissors, just breaking up your horizontal section. That just leaves a slight form of softness. Continuing through, working parallel to your first section, catching from your shortest, working into your layers. Dropping that down, seeing how that works. So at this point, we're just going to follow through just to connect our layers through the interior and giving you a guide. This guide that is right at the top of the ear is what you should be looking at this point, because your lengths have changed. Catching, slicing through. Working that forward, clean section, vertically, dragging it back, catching, slicing through. So at this point, we've created some of our interior layering. I've approached this in a different manner. A lot of times what we'll do is go into it, cut our shorter layers first, and then the longer. So what I've done this time around is I've cut my longer layers, and now I'll go into my interior and cut this area shorter into my longer pieces. That enables us to leave our corner in our shape, as opposed to cutting the center first and then connecting to layers. We're doing it oppositely. Leaving a bit more of a corner in the shape, like I mentioned, leaving you a little more versatility in your shape and your haircut. Again, keeping it in the center enables her to change her haircut as she pleases, and she's not stuck wearing it one way. Keeping versatility for the individual. As hairdressers, we are not fashion leaders, we are fashion interpreters. And the idea is to create a look for the individual, as opposed to trying to do something that you just learned the other day. It's all about taking those techniques and personalizing it to your client, making it a trend for the client. So at this point, combing it straight down 0 degrees from the center section, what we've done is taken a vertical section to in front of the ear, dragging this all straight down at 0 degrees, just cleaning up the fringe area. Starting basically at the cheekbone. We want to open up the area through the cheekbone, the eye, exposing the beauty of those features. And just freehand, visualizing your line, working from the cheekbone down into your length. Keeping this all at 0 degrees. Remember, if you're keeping this finger close to the face, as you're working to the bottom, it is natural at times, depending on the hand that you're using, you're elevating the hair, not even realizing it. So if it's close to the skin, through the cheekbone, make sure it's just as close through the rest of the shape. If you have to, get your client or model tip her head over, write down, visualize your line, creating more of a natural fall, and chipping away at your line. Again, starting in the center, just blending our bang into the other side. Point, we shall check for balance. Just pulling it down, just close to the face, working it through. Now we're going to take a center section right through the top area, creating a bit more softness and giving her the ability to create a bit of volume as well, if she wishes. Creating shorter layers through the top area, again, enable you to get that versatility through your haircut. At this point, hold it straight out, visualizing a line. This is our line going through here and basically slicing it through, not cutting it accurately. Using this technique, it's more of a visual line that you must be visualizing, because you're not closing the scissors, you're just slicing through, creating your line and the texture at the same time. The hair is already dry for me, but But if it wasn't, then I would have proceeded, dried it first, and then applied this technique. Again, just dropping it, seeing how that's working. Creating just a bit of softness through the top area. Breaking up the weight. A bit more volume. So now to connect the shorter piece into our longer pieces, what we're going to be doing is taking vertical sections, connecting this short piece into the long, maintaining our corner about in the recession area. So to play it safe, what you can do is section this whole area off, don't touch the underneath, and slide cut into this weight line, maintaining that corner. Okay, so at this point, shall go vertical. From our short to our long. Starting at the short, again working through to the long. Follow that right through, vertically. Again, bring that previous section back to the section you're working on, keeping it balanced and using it as a guide. Going through, catching and slicing. So you can see the corner that we're leaving in here. And again, that enables us to keep a lot more length through the haircut and a little bit of a corner through our shape. Going to the opposite side. Working it straight out, 90 degrees, short through to long. How I'm working this connecting technique is I'm going to be working from the front to behind the ear. Same thing on the opposite side. To the back area, I'll be working from the center line to the ear as well. Working it with a bit more, sectioning it and changing the direction of the hair, creating a lot more movement within our shape. Working that vertical. Again, to approximately the top of the recession. So working this to the top, catching our short through to the long. Now taking it to the center, like I mentioned earlier, working from the center to behind the ear. And just connecting the excess. And as we're working forward, dragging the section you're working on closer to the ear, slightly back. Moving to the other side, from our center section, removing any excess, which is very little at this point. So we're just going to power dry it, get a better visual of the shape that we've created, and then I'll apply my texturizing technique to the haircut. Okay, so before power drying it, what I'm going to do from the trend line is add a little bit of shine spray to my haircut. So when I dry it, it works nicely into the hair. It enables me to work much cleaner and giving me better combability within the haircut. Just apply a bit of that throughout. And just power dry it, blow up your shape, see what we've created, see where you need to eliminate any other form of texture, any weight. Power drying that right through. Again, getting lots of heat into those roots. Seeing where you wanted the volume, if the layers are achieving it for you. Otherwise, we shall go in there and break it up with our slicing technique, which we'll be doing shortly. So So now after power drying it, starting in the front area, just working it in the same manner that you cut it, straight down 0 degrees, combing this all evenly, go in with the depth of your scissors, more at 90 degrees, creating minimum softness. Depending on the effect of the texture will determine the angle of your scissors. If you like a stronger texture, bring it closer to 45. Less of a texture, closer to 90. Working with the grain of the hair and not going across the grain of the hair. Again, following through, down at 0 degrees, and at 90. Just breaking that up, checking it with the other side, making sure you have softness. At this point, with this section, what I want to do is hold it out at 90 degrees, allowing me a little bit more softness within our haircut as opposed to cutting it at 0 degrees. Because by picking it up, holding it out at 90, this is already another form of layering. And you can see where we have our short and our long. It's going in there, 90 degrees, making sure we don't eliminate that corner within our haircut. Working that right through. See, working with it dry, you can see there is definitely minimal hair falling out. So if you find after doing this haircut a couple of times that you're just not getting enough texture with the hair being dry, then you can approach it with a form of moisture in the hair, whether you're using a gel, a mousse, a little bit of water, a conditioner, whatever suits you best. Again, just moving that through, doing the point cutting. Just looking at our shape, just want to take the top and create shorter pieces through our long, giving us a little bit more height, movement within our haircut. Just keeping that about an inch and a half away from the scalp. Just going in with the points of your scissors, catching, keeping them locked, and slicing through. Where you can see how that's working nicely for us. Just breaking up the top area, giving her a bit more volume. Of course, if she wants it. Otherwise, not taking it too short to the scalp enables the hair still to lie quite flat. In at 90 with your scissors, eliminating minimal. Next section, remembering what you did to the other side, holding it out at 90 degrees so you get that much more softness within your technique. Depending on the size of the scissors that you have, will determine the amount of texture that is created. If you have 6-inch scissors like the ones I have, obviously you can go a lot deeper into the hair. If the scissors are shorter, there'll be less depth to it. When you go in here, just catch and slice some pieces through, which was the technique that we used for the top area. That's the beauty of being an artist. As you're creating your feel and your shape, you can keep progressing it through little different techniques. And that's really what makes your look individual for the client. Again, straight at 90 degrees, going in there at 90 with the blades, removing minimal weight. Now taking the center section through the back and texturizing it as well. Now remembering that we went through the top area on the opposite side, keeping our slicing balanced, going in, 1.5 inches, and slicing through. Creating a bit more texture and volume for the shape. I'm just doing this from the center to about 1.5 inches away from the center. I'm just checking out our perimeter. Doing the exact same procedure where we're going in at 90 degrees with our scissors, quite deep, releasing a bit more weight, softening it right up. Again, just letting the hair fall, very natural, making sure that your cutting surface is very neat and there's nothing creating any form of elevation through the hair. Again, going in at 90 degrees. And there we have it. Now what we're going to be doing is she's going to be getting her color done with our colorist Rodica, and we'll catch up with you for the blow dry so you can see the blow drying techniques. And we're also going to be showing another way to progress this look by adding a few extensions through our lengths and interiors. We'll see you soon. Thank you.